Well, I think a lot of PR agencies got very worried about the rise of digital agencies and felt they really had to compete strongly. The good news for the PR industry is that digital agencies are dying. They won't exist in 5 years' time. And that's partly because it's very expensive employing people to design websites and to make things look pretty in central London. And in the future, we won't be hiring agencies in Soho to do technical stuff on sites. That's all going to be moved into Delhi. It's very cheap to employ web designers, web developers in advancing countries. And actually employing them in London is just a waste of money. And I think clients are going to be a lot savvier in the future about saying, actually, we don't need to do that in London. What London is very good at is the actual job of communicating. It's coming up with messages that resonate with the public, that convince people. And what's really happening online is not that social media is displacing traditional media, it's that traditional media is changing. The BBC last year had something like 240 million people accessing its content every single week, up 6% from the year before. And what that means is that people aren't turning their backs on traditional media, it's just they're using them online and at the same time as social media. The Daily Mail says, their publisher says that, Twitter and Facebook are increasingly important to them for getting traffic to their site. So something like 10% of all of their traffic for their website comes from Facebook. This isn't displacing traditional media, it's going hand in hand with it. One of the problems that journalists find on a day-to-day basis is that they're getting pitches from PR teams that are actually very uncreative and very tedious. And if you walk into many PR departments, you'll find that there isn't a national newspaper anywhere, and you'll find that the teams are not necessarily very engaged with what's happening in the media. PR teams really need to upskill, and I think it's important that training, for example, is not seen as an expense, but it's actually an investment. It's something that helps PR departments get up to the standard that is actually required to get coverage. Some of the advertising industry over the decades has really become very creative. And I do worry that perhaps PR at times is a little bit repetitive, a little bit bread and butter. So the endless press releases announcing a new product or a new personnel change. Actually, no one really cares that you've just employed a new IT manager in your business. And so I think we need a creative revolution. We need to stop putting out press releases that talk about ourselves all the time. I read in the papers recently that talking about yourself is apparently as exciting as having sex, which kind of explains most of the press releases that I see. But a really good PR campaign says something very interesting. That's why I really like the Ogilvy campaign, where they had a set of weighing scales and managed to turn it into a sort of interactive thing that scientists all over the world were involved with, the so-called gnome experiment. And I think that's a real example of where you can take something that at first glance seems very dull, but actually makes it into something that excites the public. Well, I decided to write the PR Masterclass actually whilst I was working in Fleet Street. And I'd taken yet another phone call from a PR campaign trying to sell me something in a very bad way. I just thought, I wish I could recommend something that PR teams could read that would actually help them understand what journalists really think. And so I came up with the idea of the PR Masterclass. It took me a couple of years to write it, but actually I think if you're in a PR department or in an agency and you want to understand inside the heads of journalists, this is the book for you.